All right, folks, this is the recorded version of the second half of the program, and I welcome back the great Jeffrey Deskovic. Good to see you, brother. Good to see you. Now I lost him. I think he lost his signal. Let me bring him back on here. So I was going to talk about with Jeffrey. He's got to be excited about tonight's game coming up in 1 hour and 20 minutes here. Oh, there he is. There he is. Now we got him. Hey, can you hear me?
I can hear you, Robert. Yes, can you hear me?
All right, buddy. Glad to see you. Hey, that's why I was just calling you stuff. Thought, man, maybe he forgot. He probably got caught up into something. This is awesome. I know you're excited about tonight's game. But hey, let me get your quick take. What do you think about SGA, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, winning the MVP for the Oklahoma City Thunder? Get your thoughts, man.
It's hard to argue. I mean, they finished out as they finished out on the number one seed. You know, Jokic's team. You know, they were a three seed. You know, at some point that's got to matter. Yeah. I agree with giving him. I agree with giving him the MVP. I mean, I still think that Jokic is the better overall, player. I think that his passing skills, certainly his rebounding ability, is definitely better than SGA's without question. But I mean, I think for this 1 year, SGA is a better scorer than Jokic is, although Jokic is a tremendous scorer. So I agree with it. I think he was. I agree with him getting the MVP.
110%. I couldn't have said it better myself. Love the energy he brings. You're right. I haven't even heard of any of these other players on the Oklahoma City Thunder other than Chet Holmgren, Jokic. And I love Jokic. Everything you said about Jokic is 100%. But we have heard of Aaron Gordon. Remember, he won the dunk contest 1 year, and he was pretty much a borderline all-star with Orlando. So SGA, best record. Now they're showing it. Definitely totally endorse the fact it probably should have been a unanimous vote, in my opinion. Of course, none of that information came out. Just broke about less than an hour ago. Let's rewind back, man. You called it. Good call here. I thought it was a little bit of Homer type of prediction with the Knicks beating the Boston Celtics, gutting out 2 20-point deficits to go on and win this series. Regardless of the Tatum injury, I thought they would have won it anyways. What's your thoughts on that series? What a series, man.
That was an incredible series. I did call it. And look, you never want to see a player get hurt. Tatum was having, an all worldly, game. When he got hurt in game 4, you never want to see that. And I do think it takes something away. When you win a series and the other team's best player or even a significant contributor gets hurt, I think it takes some of the luster and mystique away from it. But unfortunately, the way they play the games is, they don't wait for people to get better, to heal, to get back in shape and, pick it back up. This is a business and the show must go on. I mean, it's like, did the Minnesota Timberwolves, beat the Golden State Warriors? Well, they won 4-1. Did they beat the Steph Curry Golden State Warriors? No, they did not. I do think that something that does take something away, but they won the series and they moved on. So I say that to say this, in terms of the, just to comment on the Tatum injury. He got hurt in game 4. The Knicks were up. It looked like they were going to win game 4. They already won both games in Boston. So I do. I'm just saying that you can't just say, well, because he got hurt that's why they lost. I mean, I think it was a factor in why they lost game 6, but I don't think it's a total explanation for the whole series. And to say that the Knicks wouldn't have won the whole series because they did have those big comebacks, and despite the monster game that he had in game 4, the Knicks were still ahead. at the time of the injury.
Yeah, true. Plus, there's a good statistic there. I want to say 81% of the time when the road team wins the first 2 games in a series of 7, that they win the series. So, and I know that may be a little bit different for the Celtics, but the odds were stacked against them. Hey, I got to ask you, I know we're going back, a little recap here. Pacers upset the Cavs. Is this a letdown for the Cavs, or is it just a situation where the injuries were? I lost my man again, but I was going to ask him about, is this a disappointing season? Is this a disappointing season for the Cleveland Cavaliers, Jeffrey, losing like that, or is it just unforeseen circumstances?
Well, speaking of credit, first of all, I want to give you credit because you did.
Oh, yeah.
As I recall, you called that. That was on the money.
Yes, thank you.
I didn't see one coming. Yes, that definitely was a disappointment on the part of Cleveland. Donovan Mitchell played out of his mind. I don't know that you can ask him to play better. Jesus, one of those games he put up 48 points, and it wasn't enough. I mean, I do think that the Darius Garland injury was a factor, but I don't see how being the number 1 seed and starting off the season 15-0 and losing in the second round cannot be viewed as a disappointment. I mean, the only thing worse than that would have been if they had gotten beat in the first round.
Oh, wow.
Other than that, I mean, that's kind of pretty much as bad as it gets. So yeah, I do think it was a disappointment. Is it just that they were a Darius Garland injury away? Maybe, or do they really need to make a move? I mean, there has been a lot of chatter that maybe they need to make a move so that Donovan Mitchell is the second best player on the team rather than relying on him as your top player. I mean, that's a pretty close call. I mean, do you have any thoughts on that theory?
Well,
hey, run it back exactly as is. Don't change a thing. Just keep Darius Garland healthy. Or instead, hey, if we could make a move and upgrade, make a big move and have Donovan Mitchell be our second player. I mean, do you have a favorite approach of those two?
Yeah, good question there. You know something? I wonder if they could get a Giannis on that team. If the Milwaukee Bucks would cough up a Giannis. I said this when he picked Cleveland in the free agency thing or whatnot. I think he was traded there. Excuse me, because I remember the Knicks were in possible contention to trade for Mitchell. I didn't think you could win with the guy. I thought there was a reason why Utah moved on for him. He's very ball centric. Kind of reminds me of a rich man, Stephon Marbury, a little bit. You remember former Nick there. That being said, they did have a great season. They did start 15-0. They did play well last year. I really like what Darius Garland was doing with this team. I didn't realize how much of a valuable piece he was. Can you make a move and get a Giannis? That would be a team nobody's talking about. Everybody's talking about Houston or Golden State to get Giannis. How about getting the Cleveland Cavaliers get a Giannis? That would be something I would look into. This is a talented team, though, and they all seem to be buying into the new system. I think Kenny Atkinson's a coach there now, right?
Yeah, it's a very talented team, and they do have trade assets, so they could trade for him. I mean, I think there's no question that Giannis, between him and Kevin Durant, I mean, it's if you could get Giannis, that's the better move.
Oh, younger player, about 4 or 5 years. So that would be interesting. Just had to get that in there. Golden State, that was the biggest reason I picked against them. You're led by 37-year-old Steph Curry, 35-year-old Jimmy Butler, 35-year-old Draymond Green. Should Golden State bite the bullet and really exercise just blowing that whole team up, including Steph Curry, Jeffrey? Oh, there you go. You muted
You
again.
know, I really like the fit of Jimmy Butler and Steph Curry.
Okay.
I mean, maybe if you give Jonathan Kuminga, but then what else? I mean, I'm not really a big Podzemski fan. I mean,
Okay.
he really stunk it up, to me in the playoffs. I mean, maybe if they could package him and Kuminga, maybe somebody else, but would that be enough for Giannis? Maybe.
Probably not, though.
Probably not. Maybe they could get a reunion with Kevin Durant, though.
Mm.
I mean, the
You're gonna
upside
have another older guy in there.
get a player that could, potentially give them the 20 to 25 points a game and have plenty of years, which obviously Kevin Durant does not have plenty of years. I mean, I think he's probably got like 3 or 4 years left would be my guess. What do you think?
I think these guys are all and Durant included, they're all role players, Jeffrey, off the bench guys, father time's undefeated, including Steph Curry. I love Steph Curry. I would actually try to work out something to trade him and just blow this whole thing up. And I said, work out something, Jeffrey. I said, work out. He's a legend. He's the Michael Jordan to the Golden State Warriors organization. If he said he didn't want to do it, I wouldn't do it because he's a Magic Johnson, Michael Jordan type of player. I just think these guys have hit that wall. And unfortunately, Jeffrey, Steve Kerr said that I may just be hanging around as long as Steph Curry's there, unfortunately, for the Golden State Warrior fans.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's kind of hard to go from, the 4 rings, and then they were in the finals another 2 times. Let's not forget, that. How could you go from that to, like a rebuild scenario or even, mediocrity? I wouldn't want to do that either. So I could definitely understand him on that level. Speaking of the Warriors, I mean, I think the history, as in this past year, I think the history showed they were right not to bring Klay Thompson back. At least not at the I mean, boy, he didn't really play that. He didn't really play that well for Dallas, huh?
Right. He has not, and I will say this is dirty, and he is a dirty player. He is Bill Laimbeer of his era. He is Dennis Rodman, and that's Draymond Green. He actually played pretty good with his dirty play aside. But all those guys have really hit that wall. Steph Curry's never had a hamstring injury like that, a hamstring strain. So it just feels like the end is here for that team. And it's just unfortunate, man. But they're all at role player status here, and they just got to accept it. That's why Bob Myers left a couple years ago. He knew this was coming. It's the inevitable.
Speaking of Bob Myers, I really have to say that Dunleavy really misplayed the hand. I mean, look at the players. I mean, he had James Wiseman, he had Jordan Poole.
Yeah.
They really didn't get much back. I mean, they really should have packaged them for veterans that could have, impact players that could have helped them now. But I mean, they basically let Jordan Poole go for nothing. They traded him for Chris Paul, and Chris Paul played like 1 season. He wasn't all that effective, and he's only playing there. I mean, that was a mistake. I
forgot about that. That's a hidden note in history.
Did a good job. I think that Bob Myers would have handled things, much better.
Is that a trivia question on Jeopardy? Did Chris Paul play for the Golden State Warriors?
That is kind of a trivia question because it wasn't for very long, and it's not like many people would know it. Except that they it's kind of a laughing stock. I mean, it's almost like there was another guy for the Mavericks. Was it Devin Harris? I'm trying to remember what they had a really great guard, and I think that I'm trying to remember who they traded him for. Was that I don't remember if that was I don't think it was Jason Kidd, but they traded him for somebody else that was, this. It was a similar deal where young talent, very promising player who's delivering pretty good in the moment, but then they traded him for like somebody old that they did almost nothing and was there like 1 maybe 2 years.
I don't know. You got me there, buddy.
But let's get to the.
Yeah, I know you're excited. What do you think about the Knicks tonight, Jeffrey?
I like the Knicks. I like the Knicks in 6. I think that either the Knicks or the Pacers would be an intriguing matchup playing against OKC if that's who comes out of the West. I was really disappointed. As I mentioned to you, my analysis. I mean, I like the Wolves in 6. I'm not leaving that, although they're down 1-0. But
so you like the Wolves too?
I mean, they wasted a great game from Julius Randle. I mean, how are you gonna get outscored 70-40 in the second half? You're up at halftime. I mean, that was really a big time disappointment.
Yeah. You go back to that Knicks series. Is this series, which series prior to this that was more exciting to you? Was it the 2000 Knicks Pacers or was it the 1995 Knicks Pacers? I think you kind of know my answer. I like that 95 one better, but what's your thoughts about this?
This is going to be a really, Indiana's really, they got a really, really solid team. I mean, yes. I like Rick Carlisle's philosophy. Everybody, everybody dribbles the ball, everybody shoots, moving without the ball. I like that. I definitely like that philosophy. I mean, do I think it's going to be quite as epic as, Pacers, Knicks back in the, Sprewell, Allen Houston, era, Larry Johnson, with the 4-point play, of course, the Davis brothers going against Houston and Sprewell and, Larry Johnson, Pat Ewing, that, had Marcus Camby at one point. I don't think it's going to be quite as good as them. But I do think it's going to be an interesting series. Imagine if it is the Knicks against the Wolves, Julius Randle and DiVincenzo playing against the Knicks. But if it's OKC versus the Knicks, then of course it's Hartenstein against his old team. I mean, so in that aspect of it, I mean, the Knicks against either one of those teams features more storylines than if the Pacers move on.
Yeah, and part one of this, when I recorded it early, Jeffrey, I said what you said. I think it's probably Knicks in 6. Although this Pacer team is playing at a very, very high level, you got to look at these two teams, practically the same teams. Knicks had the edge last year, won the pivotal game 5. Then they got all those injuries. They started falling apart. Knicks look healthy this year. They're primed and ready. I like the Knicks to win this, but I do think it will be a very dramatic series. I'm already recording because I got to drive Uber for a little while. Lord forgive me, but
yeah.
I'm going to be keeping up with it, and I'm going to watch every minute of this, except some of the stoppage and play. I'll fast forward it, but I think it's going to be a great series. And going to that other series, I don't know. I was going to pick Minnesota as well. I still say they have a chance to win this series, but this OKC team, they're like a defense in an NFL. It looks like they've got 7 or 8 players out there to the 5 because
they do. They all swarm to the ball. They're all trying to disrupt the dribbler. They're all smacking at the ball. It is some enviable defense. I have to say that. I think the way to beat that defense, so if you're an offensive player and you don't have the ball, when you see that your man is like double teaming or even like trying to play the tween, like the half go over, half stay at home, as that player, you got to move without the ball, like to the opposite side.
Yeah.
Make them either double or stay with you. So if they stay with you, then then your teammate can operate one-on-one. But if they don't, then the player with the ball can make one pass that leads to the pass to the open jumper. But when you're the one that they're double teaming off of, you've got to move to an opposite side of the court. Like that's got to be your cue to run and do that so that you have the open jump shot. But of course, you got to make them. You got to make the shot.
I was looking up a stat, Jeffrey, before we got on the program. 54 points.
All right, well, listen, it was wonderful coming on again.
I guess we got a little bit delay there, buddy.
Well,
yeah. Sound like we got a delay here. Hey, buddy, I'm sorry about that little sound issue. Can you hear me?
Yeah, it's a little bit difficult at times, which is why I'm probably coming a little bit too close to the screen.
No, I was wanting to tell you this: 54 points. 54 to 20 point edge for OKC to Minnesota in the paint. Minnesota's got to correct that, Jeffrey.
Yeah, no, they do. It looked like they were in position to win the series. I mean, they've been a good road team.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll leave on this note, Rob.
Yeah.
As a fan, what I really resent, what I really dislike, look, I can understand getting beat. I can understand getting beat by a better team, by a better player. I can even understand if you're the better team overall, but that the other side, played better than you on that particular occasion or that particular series, or everything was nip-tuck and at that decisive moment. I can live with that. What I can't live with, what frustrates me, what I totally can't relate to is when you don't put forth maximum effort, when you don't play your best, when you don't go all out to win. In other words, while the OKC, is proved to be the better team than the Timberwolves, at least over the long term of the NBA season. Okay, they were not 30 points better than them.
Right. I agree with that.
The second half scoring disparity was. I can't relate to that. I don't understand. I mean, look, I had more hellacious games on the playground with and against my friends and people I didn't know. Just with my competitive fire and we weren't even getting paid nothing for that, Rob.
Yeah.
Just to play, just for the love of the game, for the sports, for the competitive fire. I don't get that. I don't, give me maximum effort.
Amen. Anything else you need to plug real quick?
Yeah, I do want. Yes, I do want to. Yes, the last thing. Yeah, I do want to plug that. The foundation's gala, our third annual, spring gala, went extremely well. An anonymous donor stepped forward and let it be known, while maintaining his anonymity, he promised a $10,000 donation, but matching gift, which means that we have to raise 10. We got to get to a total of $10,000 ourselves through other sources in order to get the $10,000 donation that he offered. People can go to our website, www.deskovic.org. Click the donate button, which is on the top, which will take you to that page. Scroll down, and there's PayPal. So we're trying to get the matching funds. So I do want to plug that. We are going to have a video and a push on social media for that.
All right, Jeffrey Deskovic, everybody. Hey, good luck to the Knicks tonight, buddy. Thanks, man. Have a good night.
Thank you. You too.
Thanks, buddy. All righty then. Looks like Jeffrey, a little bit of sound issue there. Kind of caught him in between things. The guy's busy all the time. Folks, if he likes the show, share the show. I'll be back tomorrow, hopefully live. Tomorrow, 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Central, here on The Real Sports Scope. Good night, everybody.